For as long as I can remember, my brother and I have been traveling together. Through good times, bad times, and even the very weird times. But throughout all of it, one thing has remained constant. We hate going home. It seems the second we touch down back in the States, we are planning our next excursion. We compile sick days, doctor's notes, and have even faked illness, all in the name of travel. This is Paul, and I'm Derek, and it seems that we are both sick of home.
Well, now you know I got the blues all for my mind.
On the last episode of Sick of Home, Paul and I left Cusco, hiking the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. Finally arriving just before dinner, we got our first glimpse of the ancient site, and had a few minutes to walk around before heading to our hotel in Machu Picchu Pueblo.
Well, here it is, Machu Picchu. After a grueling trek and donating a pair of sunglasses to the Inca gods somewhere along the trail, we finally made it. Now, to see it this empty right now is really rare. By mid-morning tomorrow, it'll be covered with literally thousands of people. We're going to hike back up in the morning, see if we can get the sunrise and see what Machu Picchu is like first thing in the morning. But right now, I think I'm going to head back to town and get a cold beer.
Machu Picchu Pueblo, also referred to as Aguas Calientes, offers travel-weary tourists all the amenities of home. The town features an abundance of hotels, hostels, restaurants, and even internet cafes. However, it should be noted that large tour groups will often come into town and rent out entire hotels, so we suggest either booking a room a few weeks ahead or arriving in town on the earliest train to make sure you have a place to stay the night. Although Aguas Calientes is a relatively new town compared to its ancient counterpart, the local craftsmen still use indigenous techniques in the town's ongoing construction. There's also a great open market in town where you can stock up on local fruits, vegetables, and of course coca leaves, ensuring you won't run out of energy exploring Machu Picchu. Rising early the next morning, Paul and I made our way back up to the ancient city. We had been told that some 2,500 people visit these ruins every day, and we definitely wanted to see as much as we could before the hordes of visitors arrived. There are basically two ways to get to Machu Picchu from Aguas Calientes. You can take one of the many buses that leave from the center of town, or you can take a steep, winding trail all the way to the top. Machu Picchu was constructed around 1450. However, as the empire collapsed under the Spanish, it was abandoned roughly 100 years later. It wasn't until 1911 when explorer and historian Hiram Bingham rediscovered the site with the help of some natives, and started the vast undertaking of clearing hundreds of years of forest growth from the city. To experience this amazing city firsthand is to truly feel as though you have stepped back in time. Even the inhabitants don't look like they've changed much in the last 500 years.
When Hiram Bingham came across this site, the overgrowth was unimaginable. Trees, rocks, shrubs cover the entire area. But luckily for them, it looks like the Inca invented the riding lawnmower.
Santiago, our all-knowing guide, who is of Inca descent, helped shed some light on the history of the site. However, even for him, the construction of Machu Picchu is still a mystery.
Human remains, yes, were found on the bottom of the mountains. But nobody knows how many people could die building this kind of architecture, building the trail, building the terraces to control the erosion. Nobody knows also if they use some kind of a rope to climb or to descend. Will be, I think, forever an enigma.
Although Machu Picchu seems to rise into the heavens, it is actually at a lower elevation than Cusco, which offered our lungs a much-needed rest. There are many theories regarding Machu Picchu's actual purpose. Some say it was a defensive retreat for the Inca elite. Others believe that it was a vast estate of a past Inca emperor. Either way, it is obvious that the Inca valued their environment, and even carved nature's image into their immediate surroundings. Towering 1,200 feet above Machu Picchu lies Huayna Picchu, or in Quechua, the native Inca language, Young Peak. Make sure you bring some comfortable hiking shoes, as the trail gets very narrow, steep, and slippery, although not necessarily in that order. Those that decide to make the trek won't be disappointed. The peak is dotted with temples and terraces that offer an alternative view to the far below Machu Picchu. With heavy hearts, we finally left Machu Picchu and took the train back to Cusco, where we hitched a ride on one of the many buses that takes tourists to the sacred valley of the Inca, roughly 18 miles northwest of Cusco. We arrived in Pisac, a must-see for anyone who loves local crafts and wares, or for those who need to buy the folks back home a memento from their trip. Well, here we are at the Pisac Marketplace, a very important trading destination during pre-colonial and colonial times. Now, as you can see, it's a wonderful place for tourists to come to sample all of the indigenous goods from all over Peru. From baby alpaca, pottery, weaponry. You want it, you can get it here. The best day to visit is on Sunday, when the locals set up a Mercado de Treque, which dates back hundreds of years when Peruvians in the highlands depended on trade with surrounding communities. Even today, the market supplies much needed goods to both tourists and locals alike.